Alright, here is the rough stock. It's about 3.2 inches, I believe. Final length is 3 inches exactly. There's going to be several ops here. We're going to face one side on all of them, come back and face the other side to length on all of them. We're going to drill and ream them on the other machine, bring them back, put them on a mandrel, OD turn and put some chamfers on it. Yeah, there also needs to be a small countersink in the end. I guess that's what I'm going to do right after they get drilled and reamed for the mandrel. Alright, so here we go. I would drill in, I would drill ream and chamfer it, but the other tool, the other machine's being used for something else right now, so. Alright, so Jeremy's going to drill and ream these out so that I can finish them on the other side. The smithy doesn't have enough travel to drill all the way through, so I have to loosen the tail stock and drill it back in. It's not in the video. We had to replace the handle that broke off for the tailstock lock, so we got a pair of vice grips on there now. That's it. Next stop, reaming. Does it. Okay, here is the part. I faced one end to length and the other length came free, so my brother went ahead and drilled the hole and reamed it. So I'm going to face this end to length, chamfer the hole, and then I'll come back later and chamfer all the other sides. So that's what we're doing now. I would have drilled the hole first and did both the chamfering and facing, but like I said, the machine was busy earlier. Alright, so here we go. Put this in. I put a little black line just so I don't somehow put it in the wrong way, and also later it'll let me know which side has already been chamfered, because the chamfer's pretty small. That way there's no mistakes, and this gets turned down later, so no biggie. Okay, I used to hate cutting UHMW. I've learned quite a bit about it, cutting it, so I'm going to share what I know, and it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. So, the camera's in the way here, so it's going to be a little difficult, but here's the parts to cut to length. The holes are chamfered on both ends. Go ahead and mount this up. I didn't have a smaller bolt, so that's why I'm using this long bolt and spacer here. I'm just trying to get through this job. And I believe we have 62 parts on this job. For this particular 62 of these parts. This is going to look a little wobbly because this is the way that's on there, but alright, I think I'm actually going to run this with the door open, or try to. Let's see if I can do this. Now, the things that I've learned: cut as deep as you possibly can, and I'm doing like, I usually cut up to about 300 thou depth of cut and about 15 thou per rev. It's going to cut pretty quick. You'll see that. That keeps the chips heavy and they want to fall instead of getting caught up and wrapped around. On the cleanup pass, though, I do have to take it slow. And I'll take these little pauses to break the chips so that they don't get too long, because what will happen is these little chips will get caught on here or something and they'll wrap around, and then they'll end up pulling everything down from the bottom up with them. So if you break the chips every so often, it stops that from happening, and you know, you'll see. Oh, yeah, try to do this with the door open. I don't use any coolant down here anymore for plastic. So those chips are heavy enough to where they just want to fall to the bottom. I'll take a pause and come up here to make sure the chip's broken before we finish the cut so it doesn't wrap around the backside. There it is. Now, the finer chips are harder to control, but so we'll take a bunch of pauses just so that they don't, if they do get wrapped up, it's not a nightmare. So this, if you let it continue, we'll start pulling stuff from the bottom. I stop it every once in a while, because when you get this back here, it's going to try to wrap up no matter what you do. There's just so much for it to get caught on, so you want to leave as little to wrap up as possible. So if you can see, it's taking little pauses there. And this isn't bad at all. It gets really bad if you don't take any pauses. Just putting a little chamfer on the front here. It's just kind of a big chamfer. It's a 125, 45 degree. I know this part doesn't look clean as far as material, you know, it's plastic on here, but this is super simple to get off, and it's way worse if you don't take the pauses like I'm doing. If anybody's curious about how I do the pauses or anything, I'll do a video about it. Just let me know in the comments. Alright, so like I said, this is kind of long and ready to there. Okay. And all that just comes off. Problem is, I'm going to have to flip this over and do a second up here because I cannot figure out on the Tormach how to cut. It keeps giving me errors, and when I try to do a chamfer that way on the backside. So, every time I'm too busy to try to, every time I think about working on it, I'm too busy actually doing a job to take the time to mess with it.